everyone, and welcome. This is Pearls of Fisdom with Nirmal and I'm Avan Dabash. Well, today it's all about the ups and downs and the roller coaster ride of the company Wonderla. Yes, I'm talking about one of the largest chains of amusement parks in the country that is operated by Wonderla's Holidays. In fact, let's talk about the amusement parks that they operate in Kochi, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Bhubaneswar, and more. The unforgettable thrills, family-friendly attractions, as well as, of course, the business prospects. Arun Chittilappilly is the Managing Director and now joins us. Thank you so much, Arun, for taking time out. I'm going to dive straight in and talk about what the quarter gone by has been like and what the outlook is in terms of the fact that it has been a bit of a soft quarter when it comes to the EBITDA margins, as well as the overall revenue picture. What could it look like in the coming quarters? Is it going to be a bit sluggish?
Thanks for having me on the show, Avan. Pleasure talking to you as always. I think last quarter we had a few challenges. I think it's because we, coming out of the COVID year and a half where we had, stupendous numbers, there was bound to be some changes in terms of, how people view holidays. So I think, for example, one of the things that affected us last quarter was group footfalls, which normally, which had huge numbers the previous year, that dropped by about 30%, especially in Cochin. So that led to some of the softness that you saw. We did kind of make up for it with higher retail footfalls in the quarter, but somehow, we didn't see much growth. In fact, it was slightly lower still. So that's the kind of issues we had. This quarter is different. This is our summer quarter. We've had some challenges in summer because, as you know, there was a big heat wave across the country, and that did kind of affect outdoor entertainment venues, I think, including us, amusement parks. So we did see some lower performance in April, but May has been strong, and, as you know, the weather has improved a lot. So we are hoping to kind of, do better than last year going forward as well. And the rest of the year should be good. That's what we feel, and we are also excited because we are opening a new park as we speak. And next week we are soft launching it in Bhubaneswar, and it's going to be open to public. And we are expecting good footfalls there because we are still in the summer season. Till end of June, we can expect some good footfall there as well. And because it's a new park, there's a lot of marketing and hype building that we're doing. And I think it's going to be a very interesting year for us.
Yeah, no doubt it is. And I do want to talk about Bhubaneswar in greater detail, but let's discuss what the outlook is when it comes to the incremental ARPU, ARPUs, or average revenue per user that you're anticipating. How, with the operationalization of the Odisha park, you're talking about Bhubaneswar, all of that, how is that going to overall aid your footfalls and your ARPU?
So ARPU for our existing parks, we are expecting 8 to 12% kind of ARPU growth. Bhubaneswar is different because it's the first time we are doing a smaller park now in a tier 2 city. So the ARPUs there are going to be a bit lower. We are expecting between 800 to 1,000 rupees in the first year. This is also because we will be running a lot of promotions and discounts because it's a new park, and we want to create create a lot of offers and reasons for people to visit, as we call it. So so I think that's going to be different, but we can expect an extra 4 lakh visitors from Bhubaneswar in this financial year. That's what we are hoping to get. Maybe we are expecting maybe still slightly better than that as well, but because it's a new year, it's very hard, a new park and a new year, it's hard for us to kind of put a number on it. So, but we are saying that we are expecting about 4 lakh visitors from this new new park in Bhubaneswar.
Yeah, so I want to discuss that because the completion of the construction was done in a very short span, I believe 13 months, correct me if I'm wrong. How confident
That's
are you
right.
when it comes to your overall project pipeline, the soft launch for Bhubaneswar, Odisha, what we're expecting in terms of park additions?
Yeah, so I think it's Bhubaneswar for us was also a new project, and we tried to do it as quickly as we could, and we, like you said, we finished it in 13 months,
Yeah.
which is kind of a record for us. From start to finish, from the first stone to the last, the first customer walking in, the whole thing was done in 13 months, and it's a large. I mean, it's a largest amusement park. We're talking about park with roller coasters and water park, and everything. It's about 30 acres of land that we have used for this. So it's been a lot of learning for us. I think we were also figuring out how to do multiple projects simultaneously, and we've been able to do that. So we have one team working on Bhubaneswar and another team working on our Chennai park, which is slated to open by the later half of next year. So these are some of the things that we've been playing with to see whether we could do multiple projects, and we've been successful to an extent. So I think so we gives us a lot more confidence to take on more projects. Once Bhubaneswar is done and once the election season is done, we will be definitely initiating more projects. Hopefully the next one would be in Madhya Pradesh and Indore, and then after that we are definitely looking at to go further north. We are looking at something in Greater Noida and then in Mohali as well. So a lot of projects we are in talks with governments to see whether we could do them. We also have plans to do something in Gujarat and then hopefully Goa as well. So some of these and maybe few more cities. I mean, these things keep evolving and changing all the time. But we are confident of signing up a few more projects. The goal is for us to have about five more to initiate five more projects after Chennai. So starting with Indore and yeah, so we will have a busy few years going ahead.
Okay, super. Can't wait for all of those exciting launches, and give us a sense as well as to what the outlook is in terms of your non-ticket revenue. I believe it comprises about 35% of the total revenue pie. How much will that grow to?
So, yeah, like you rightly said, our non-ticket revenue is currently at about 30%, 30 to 35%. We want to grow it to about 40% in the next couple of years. So it's not something that we can do overnight. It's a slow progression that we are looking at. We will probably improve it by another 2 to 3% this year, and then so on and so forth. So by the end of FY26 or FY27, we will be at a 40-60 ticket to non-ticket split. That's what we are aiming for. This is because as the parks grow older, it makes more sense for us to focus on non-ticket revenue because there is a finite number of footfalls that we can expect to accommodate in each of our parks. And some of our parks like Bangalore and Kochi, they've been there for a long time, and they're now kind of nearing capacity, especially in the peak months. So expecting higher footfall growth is not feasible. So we are looking at non-ticket revenue as a growth driver for our existing parks. Of course, additional footfalls will come from our newer parks as well.
Okay. And you're also, looking at a very asset-light model, which is the focus of the company as you're entering into new markets and improving the overall business model. I think trying to look at what we have internationally or the international standards. So how are you looking at that really working in your favor when it comes to earnings growth in the coming years?
See, amusement parks are a very high capex, land intensive, resource intensive business. So our endeavor has been to see how we can do it in a very cost efficient and resource efficient way, because that's the way it works in India. I think everybody in India wants value for money, and the only way we can do that is to make sure that we ourselves don't overspend on our projects. So that has been an ethos for Wonderla for many years, and that's why we've been successful and we've been able to show these kind of profitability figures. And so yeah, so that continues, and we definitely want to make sure that whatever we do, we do it in a resource efficient manner. Bhubaneswar Park for us is a good example. It's a park with a big roller coaster, about 21 rides. 30-acre area of the park, and it can accommodate about 3,500 to 4,000 people. And we've been able to do it in about 100 with about 190 crores of investment, which I think is still very low for a park of that size. So these are some of the things, and this is also because we've been able to design the park partly by ourselves, make some of the attractions by ourselves. So we have a manufacturing division where we make a lot of the rides and attractions for the park. They are custom made. So these things help us to kind of reduce our cost burden on importing machines. Like some of these machines can cost upwards of 30-40 crores if we had to import them. So making them in-house makes a lot of sense for us, and it also gives more value to the customer. So these are some of the things that have helped us to do this asset light version, and we are hoping to do more of these in other tier 2 cities.
Okay, that's exciting. And, what about, just to understand it a little bit better, on average, what would be the CAPEX per park? For example, I think for the Chennai park, the CAPEX was about 500 odd crore rupees. How are you looking at the average CAPEX, and, break it up in terms of the mix between ticketing, non-ticketing revenue on average for each geography?
So for tier 1 cities, we'll be doing a larger capex park like the one we are doing for Chennai. So, for example, when we do something in Ahmedabad or Greater Noida, we'll be doing a tier 1 kind of park, and those parks will cost upwards of 500 crores, between 500 to 600 crores, depending on how we want to design it. Whereas for tier 2 cities, we want to do the smaller parks, which could range between 150 to 200 crore kind of investment. Again, depending on how we kind of finally design it, some of these details will finally determine the cost of the project. So it's hard for me to preempt how much it will exactly cost. But that's the range that we're looking at, between 150 to 200 crores for a tier 2 city park. And we should be able to have a capacity of roughly 3,500 visitors per day. That's the kind of goal that we have set ourselves. This will be about 35% cheaper than doing it, by the traditional method where we buy land and buy all the equipment from outside. Instead of doing that, we are trying to get land on long lease from the governments, because they are looking at tourism ventures in their respective states. And then we also do a lot of the manufacturing ourselves. This has two benefits. One is it reduces our costs, and we are able to employ more people in these projects. So it has a double benefit. So these are some of the things that we have done to make it more asset light. It reduces our cost by about 30 to 35%.
Okay. And what about the Odisha park in terms of when it's going to be EBITDA positive?
Odisha Park, we are hoping that it will be EBITDA positive from the first year of operation, which is this year itself. We are not expecting like a PAT level positivity for about 2 to 3 years. Maybe in about 3 years, we will be PAT positive as well. There will be depreciation charges and all that. So at a PAT level, it will be negative for about 3 years, and then it will become positive.
Okay. And just give us a sense for the Bhubaneswar park, for instance, or for Odisha. What are the park tickets available at? Are you looking at any offers or any discounting, or different pricing for weekends or peak periods?
Yeah, so the Odisha Park tickets are roughly about 999 plus tax is the weekday price for the Odisha Park, and then 100 rupees more for weekends. This is our peak pricing for the summer season. Once we finish summer, which is the end of June, pricing will come down a little bit, maybe another 100 rupees. So it'll be 899 and about 1,000 rupees for the weekend. So once that is done, and then of course, because it's the opening year, we will definitely be running a lot of promotions. We are also looking forward to the Durga Puja, which is big in Odisha and the eastern market. So we want to do a lot of promotions around that time. We are also expecting visitors from neighboring states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and West Bengal. Um, the park is roughly about 400 kilometers from Calcutta, so even people from Calcutta could visit our park. So so we are still figuring out what kind of offers and marketing to do. But I think looks promising. In fact, the opening weekend looks like it's going to be sold out. We have already sold about 2,500 tickets, and we are not even open yet. So I think it's going to be a very exciting, ride for us in Odisha.
Okay, and Arun, as we're winding it down, it's been a little over 20 years that you've been, within this space, a key player in the theme park sector in the country. I'm sure it's been a roller coaster ride with all of the ups and downs. What are the pearls of wisdom that you would like to impart for running such a business where the addressable market as well is only now growing and it's sort of a niche space to be in?
Yeah, so running an amusement park is, I keep saying that it's like running a small city. So it's an operationally very complex business, and you have a lot of employees that you need to train and make sure that they perform to certain standards. So I think building a good organization, having the right ethics, and making sure that people are treated fairly and they're given the right responsibility is so important, because there's only so much one person can do, and people need to be empowered and they have to be given responsibilities, and we need to trust them to do the best, and with the right training as well, and the right kind of direction, and no compromises on quality or safety, and these are some of the things that we follow, and that's helped us a lot to kind of uh, 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 tide over such a very what do you call it, unpredictable business. It can it can be quite daunting at times, but it's been a good ride for us, and what started out as a hobby for my dad has now become a large business. So very happy and proud that we've been able to reach this level.
Oh, I'm sure you must be. And just a few quick fun questions before we let you go. What's your favorite ride out of?
My favorite ride is my latest favorite ride is the spinning coaster at Bhubaneswar, which is a new ride that we're just going to launch. It's not yet open. It's built by a German company called Maurer Schon,
Okay.
and it's going to
The
be first
spinning
of its
coaster,
kind
you
in
said.
India. Yeah, it's a coaster where the cars on the coaster keep spinning. So
Yikes.
it's a different kind of a coaster. Yeah.
Different is one
Yeah.
word to describe it. What's the one ride, according to you, across the Wonderla parks that's guaranteed to make you feel sick?
So the one ride that which always makes people sick in our park, and it's called the pirate ship. It's like this
Okay.
swinging boat ride,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
it's a very common ride in many parks, but unfortunately, that's the ride that seems to make people sick the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your favorite food in the Wonderla park?
So right now we have a mango festival.
Oh,
So we have a mango festival going on. So there's this amras juice, like a smoothie that they do, which I really like. But then people like biryani. We sell biryani by the bucket sometimes,
okay.
and we sell all kinds of pizza and burgers, snacks, and
Yeah,
cotton candy and everything. So yeah,
yeah.
I guess
It's hard to choose,
it's a
I
varied
guess.
taste. But my favorite is the mango smoothie.
Okay, and probably not a good idea to have it before you go on the pirate ship, right? But
Definitely
what?
not. Definitely not.
Yeah. Arun, finally, across the world, of course, there are so many theme parks. Do you have a favorite? Let's not be partial to Wonderla. I'm just talking across the globe.
So I've been to a lot of theme parks. One of my favorites is the Universal's Islands of Adventure in Florida. The other
Okay, yeah.
favorite of mine is Disney Sea in Tokyo.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Arun, lovely chatting with you. Thank you so much for being so candid with us and telling us about the business prospects for Wonderla.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to never miss an update from Nirmal Bang.